Welcome to my views and news. Another video for you. Firstly, Ethiopian federal government has denied having carried out any drone strikes, air strikes on Tigray after the signing of the peace agreement on Wednesday in South Africa. Ridwan Hussain, a national security advisor, spoke about recent claims being made by some pro-Tigray news sources and others as well. I reported too. And it was being claimed formally by some Tigray officials too. What did Ridwan Hussain say? Secondly, around 5,000 Somalia's soldiers are in Eritrea. For more than 2 years, they have been in Eritrea. Rumors going around that Eritrea is demanding money for their return. People call it ransom. We know that in July, Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud visited Eritrea. And we saw pictures of Somalia soldiers in Eritrea. Hassan Sheikh met them as well. Now, reportedly, Hassan Sheikh is preparing to pay another visit to Eritrea next week. Somalia's president could visit Eritrea. Details for you. Firstly, viewers, after the signing of the peace agreement on Wednesday, reports came in of some airstrikes and drone strikes on Tigray. Some pro-Tigray sources claimed that Machio was hit in southern Tigray. A drone strike was conducted on Machio. DWTV showed pictures of some wounded people. Then Professor Kendea of Tigray External Affairs Bureau tweeted confirming drone strike on Machio after the signing of peace agreement. Later, he deleted his tweet. I reported as well in a video that some drone strikes had been conducted, airstrikes as well on Machio and on some areas of central Tigray on Adwa Ebe Edi road. Tigray regional government did not issue any official statement about these airstrikes or drone strikes. Now, Ethiopian federal government is denying. Ethiopian government says it did not conduct any drone strike or airstrike on Tigray after the signing of peace agreement on Wednesday. Ridwan Hussain, top Ethiopian negotiator who was leading the Ethiopian delegation in South Africa, then in Kenya as well yesterday. He was interviewed by a news channel a few hours ago, and there he said that all reports about drone strikes and air strikes on Tigray after the signing of the agreement are false. He said that he was in touch with Gata Choreda, Tigray presidential spokesperson. Ethiopian Air Force, Ethiopian Federal Forces did not conduct any drone strike or airstrike on any territory of Tigray after the signing of the agreement. So this is official position of Ethiopian federal government. Since Tigray regional government has not issued any statement so far, it means that this is being acknowledged by Tigray regional government too. So what we are seeing is a campaign of misinformation or perhaps disinformation. Tigrayan news outlets, their diaspora activists, social media activists, they are making these claims. They are sharing these news stories. Though DWTV also reported about drone strike on Macho did not clarify when the drone strike was conducted. So it means that either it was shared by mistake or a deliberate campaign is being launched to undermine the peace agreement, accusing the Ethiopian government that it is involved in drone strikes and airstrikes. No drone strikes and airstrikes on Tigray after the signing of the peace agreement. This is official position of Ethiopian government now. So it means that we should be careful in reporting and in believing what is being reported about fighting, about drone strikes, airstrikes happening after the signing of the peace agreement in South Africa. Secondly, viewers, Somalia's president is going to visit Eritrea once again. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud was elected as the president of Somalia in May this year. And prior to Hassan Sheikh, the country was led by Abdullahi Farmajo. During Abdullahi Farmajo era, he sent around 5,000 Somalia soldiers for training in Eritrea. Somalia soldiers are being trained in Eritrea, in UK, in Turkey, in US. Somalia is under sanctions. It cannot purchase weapons. Decades ago, Somalia was put under sanctions, though Somalia is now trying that the sanctions should be lifted as it is fighting Al-Shabaab now. So, Eritrea started military training of thousands of Somalia soldiers more than 2 years ago. No basic recruitment course. Those soldiers, Somalia soldiers, were recruits. They were recruited and sent to Eritrea. And then we heard rumors, unconfirmed reports were shared that Eritrea deployed Somalia soldiers to fight in Tigray in the first round of fighting. Somalia denied, Farmajo's government back then denied, Ethiopia denied as well, Eritrea denied too. Tigray Liberation Front kept on claiming that Somalia soldiers were deployed to fight in Tigray against Tigray forces. The soldiers did not return to Somalia. Abdullahi Farmajo government was replaced, and in May, Hassan Sheikh became the new president of the country. He was very critical of sending of Somalia soldiers to Eritrea when he was in opposition during Farmajo era. Hassan Sheikh, after taking charge, visited neighboring countries. He visited Kenya, he visited Middle Eastern countries too, and in July, he visited Eritrea. He was warmly welcomed by Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president, and there Hassan Sheikh met with Somalia soldiers too, who were shown thousands were under training there. Some members of naval forces of Somalia were also there receiving military training in Eritrea. Hassan Sheikh returned from Eritrea. I think it was 4 or 5 day long visit. And he was received. He was received by Isaias Afwerki himself. And when he departed Eritrea, Isaias Afwerki was there to say goodbye to Hassan Sheikh. But Hassan Sheikh returned. Somalia's soldiers did not return. When he returned, he said that there was no issues. There were no issues, and soldiers would return, and that issue would be resolved, and that all rumors that Eritrea was demanding money for return of Somalia soldiers were false. Later he travelled to US, and there he spoke about these Somalia soldiers. In the US, he said that Eritrea did not return Somalia soldiers in the past during Farmajo era because there were political issues, political disputes in Somalia, And Isaias Afwerki did not want these Somalia soldiers to be involved in political disputes in Somalia. That is why he did not return them, did not allow them to be returned. He visited the US, no return of soldiers. Now, Hassan Sheikh is once again going to visit Eritrea. Reportedly, next week, Somalia's president will visit Eritrea. And obviously, his visit is about the release, if the right word, release of Somalia soldiers from Eritrea. No basic training course, basic military training course takes 2 years. Nowhere in the world a basic military training course lasts 2 years. And these Somalia soldiers in Eritrea for more than 2 years. It means Eritrea is not letting them return. What is Eritrea demanding? Most sources say that Eritrea is demanding some money. Eritrea announced to arm these soldiers as well when Hassan Sheikh visited Eritrea in July. Some sources from Somalia, some journalists, they claim that Eritrea is demanding money, though Somalia's government has not officially confirmed any demand from Eritrea for the release of Somalia soldiers. But when Hassan Sheikh was in the US, he said that Somalia would seek US support for the return of its soldiers from Eritrea. So his statement was an indication that Somalia was requesting financial support from US for the return of the soldiers. The soldiers will be returned. Obviously, then they'll need arms, they'll need housing, they'll need other things as well. So there are issues which are not being disclosed between Eritrea and Somalia. Let's see what happens. Once again, Hassan Sheikh is going to visit Eritrea in coming days. What happens there, we'll update you in coming videos. Hassan Sheikh government is hiding some facts about the return of these soldiers. Because he took office in May and around 6 months have passed. So far, no progress regarding the return of the soldiers from Eritrea. Thank you for watching.